If you have less than $10,000 saved right now, listen closely. Because the truth is, you're not just broke in your bank account, you're broke in your decisions. And unless you change the way you think and act about money, the number in your account will never change. $10,000 feels like a lot when you don't have it. But in reality, it's tiny. It's one emergency, one accident, one bad month away from being gone. If you're under that line, it's not about surviving, it's about escaping. And the only way you escape is by doing what most people won't, cutting the nonsense, building skills, and raising your standard for what's acceptable. If you've got less than $10,000 saved, the first thing you have to understand is that your issue isn't the money itself. It's the decisions you've been making up to this point. Money is just the scoreboard. It shows you how well you've been playing the game, but it's not the game itself. The real game is your daily choices, your mindset, and the way you react to opportunities. Most people make the mistake of obsessing over how much money they don't have instead of fixing the habits that keep them from ever stacking it in the first place. And if you're under 10 grand right now, it's not because the universe has conspired against you. It's because the way you think about money, the way you act with money, and the way you decide about money has created this reality. The problem is people want to blame the scoreboard when they're losing instead of looking at how they're playing. They look at their savings account and say, life is unfair. I don't make enough. Things are too expensive. But here's the truth. There's always someone out there who had the same obstacles, the same disadvantages, the same lack of resources, and they still figured out how to win. The difference wasn't the hand they were dealt. It was the way they played it. The reality is, your savings account is just feedback. It's telling you exactly what your decisions have been worth. You can argue with it, you can get upset at it, but you can't deny it. That number is the truth. When you accept that, everything changes. Because now you stop waiting for a miracle or a lottery ticket, and you start focusing on what's in your control, your decisions. The coffee you buy every morning, the car payment you agreed to, that eats half your paycheck, the decision to work a job that doesn't challenge you, the decision to go home and watch Netflix instead of learning a new skill, those aren't accidents. Those are choices. And choices compound. Just like interest builds wealth, decisions build your life. Right now, your life is the result of your compounded decisions. If you don't like where you're at, the only way out is to start making different ones. But here's the part most people miss: the small decisions matter just as much as the big ones. Everybody thinks wealth comes from one big opportunity, one big break, one big win. It doesn't. It comes from stacking smart decisions over time, choosing to live below your means instead of above them, choosing to reinvest into yourself instead of blowing cash on looking successful, choosing to spend 3 hours on a weekend learning a skill instead of wasting it on a distraction. Every one of those choices might feel small in the moment, but they build a trajectory. And over a year, 5 years, 10 years, those decisions are the difference between still being broke and finally being free. The good news is, the scoreboard can change fast once the decisions change. You don't have to wait 10 years to see results. The moment you start making disciplined choices, you'll feel the difference. You'll have more control. You'll see your savings creep up instead of creep down. You'll notice opportunities you were blind to before, because now your decisions put you in the position to actually take advantage of them. And once you get that first taste of momentum, it fuels you, because now you know you're not stuck. You're just a few smart choices away from rewriting your future. So if you've got less than 10,000 saved, stop thinking you have a money problem. You don't. You have a decision problem. And the second you own that, you take back your power. Because if it's your decisions that got you here, then it's your decisions that can get you out. The scoreboard is just the reflection of the player. Change the player, and the score takes care of itself. If you want to change your financial life, the first lever you need to pull is not saving more, it's earning more. People who try to penny pinch their way to freedom stay stuck. You can only cut so much. You can cancel Netflix, stop buying coffee, drive the cheapest car, and share a tiny apartment. But even if you live like a monk, there's a limit to what you can save if you're earning crumbs. The truth is, nobody saves their way to wealth at minimum wage. You escape by increasing your earning power. That's the engine that drives everything else. Think about it. If you're making $2,000 in a month, saving $200 is painful and it takes forever to see progress. But if you're making $80 out a month, saving $2,000 becomes automatic. The difference isn't willpower, it's income. That's why when you're under $10,000, the best investment you can make is not in stocks, not in crypto, not in real estate. The best investment is in yourself. in the skills that make you more valuable to the marketplace. But here's the catch. Most people don't want to do that because it requires delayed gratification. They'd rather throw 200 into some coin and pray it tanks. Instead of learning a skill that guarantees them a permanent income raise, they're chasing luck instead of building leverage. And that's why they stay broke. If you're serious about changing your situation, you need to stop thinking about money as something you just store and start thinking about it as something you use to buy capability, knowledge, experience, access, and tools. That's what compounds. If you look at every high earner, you'll notice the pattern. At some point, they doubled down on a skill. Maybe it was sales, maybe it was marketing, maybe it was coding, design, copywriting, or leadership. But they mastered something that the marketplace rewards. And once you have that, nobody can take it away from you. You could lose your job, your business could collapse, the economy could crash. But if you have a valuable skill, you'll always find a way to make money again. That's what financial security really means. And it doesn't have to take years. Most people underestimate how quickly you can level up your income if you focus. 6 months of obsessive effort on the right skill can change the trajectory of your entire life. Think about how much time people waste every year scrolling, gaming, binge watching. If that same time went into building a marketable skill, they'd never worry about having less than 10,000 in the bank again. The problem isn't time, it's priorities. This is why your mindset around money has to shift. Instead of asking, how can I save more of what I have? You need to start asking, how can I make myself worth more so I can earn more? Because once you earn more, saving becomes easy, investing becomes easy, building wealth becomes inevitable. It's like filling a bucket with water. If the faucet is only dripping, you can't do much. But if you turn the faucet into a fire hose, suddenly the same bucket fills in seconds. Income is the faucet, savings is just the bucket. So if you've got less than 10,000 saved, stop obsessing over tiny cuts. Stop wasting energy on where to invest a few $100. Put all of your focus into raising your income capacity. Learn a skill. Get around people who already make more than you and copy what they do. Take the money you do have and pour it into courses, mentors, software, or tools that make you better. Don't treat that money like it's leaving you. Treat it like it's multiplying inside of you. Because here's the ultimate truth a high earner with no savings can recover. A low earner with perfect discipline will always struggle. If you want to break out of financial survival mode, you can't save your way there. You've got to earn your way there. And once you fix the income side of the equation, the savings side takes care of itself. One of the fastest ways people trap themselves in financial struggle is by trying to look rich before they actually are. If you've got less than $10,000 saved, you don't need nicer shoes, a newer car, or the latest phone. You don't need vacations you can't afford, dinners you put on credit cards, or outfits to impress people who don't care about you. All of those things are financial quicksand. They feel good for a moment, but they keep you stuck for years. The truth is, wealth is invisible. Most of the people you think are rich aren't. They're just good at spending. And most of the people who actually are rich don't look like it because their money is tied up in assets, not liabilities. When you're under 10 grand, the game isn't about proving yourself. It's about stacking cash so you can buy freedom. That means cutting the fake lifestyle costs that drain you. Every time you spend money to impress someone, ask yourself, is this purchase moving me closer to freedom or further away from it? The car payment, the subscription boxes, the endless nights out, all of those things might look harmless, but when you add them up, they're the reason you can't break past the barrier. The average person isn't broke because of one giant expense. They're broke because of 1,000 tiny ones they refuse to cut. Here's the ugly truth. Nobody cares what brand your shoes are. Nobody cares if you're rocking the new iPhone. Nobody cares about the car you drive, except the people who are also broke and trying to look rich. The people who actually have money are not judging you on those things. In fact, they'll respect you more for being disciplined and practical. The flex culture is designed to keep you in debt. If you play that game, you lose. The discipline to live below your means is boring, but it's the most powerful wealth building tool you'll ever have. That doesn't mean you never spend on yourself. It means you spend with intention. You buy things that matter long term, not things that give you a quick dopamine hit. When you're tempted to upgrade your lifestyle, ask yourself, do I want to look successful or do I want to be successful? Because you can't have both in the beginning. Real success is quiet at first. It's invisible. It's nights spent working when everyone else is partying. It's driving a car that's paid off while stacking cash for opportunities. Saying no to vacations so you can say yes to freedom later. This is where most people fail. They let their ego run their wallet. They think money is about status, so they try to signal success before they have it. And the irony is, the more they try to look rich, the poorer they become. If you're living paycheck to paycheck because you want to keep up with appearances, you're trading actual wealth for pretend wealth. That's the most expensive trade you'll ever make. If you want to win, you've got to kill the need to impress. You've got to be okay with people underestimating you, even laughing at you because you're not keeping up. Let them laugh. While they're broke and flexing, you'll be stacking and compounding. And in 5 years, when you've built something real, you won't need to explain yourself. Your results will speak louder than their opinions. So cut the fake lifestyle. Cancel the unnecessary subscriptions. Stop dining out like you're a millionaire. Drive the car that gets you from point A to point B. Wear clothes that are clean and simple instead of overpriced logos. Every dollar you don't waste as a soldier, you can send into battle for your future. That's how you build momentum. That's how you escape. And the sooner you stop playing the game of appearances, the sooner you can start playing the game of wealth. The people around you are either pulling you up or holding you down. And if you've got less than $10,000 saved, you can't afford to be surrounded by anchors. Look at your circle. Do they challenge you to think bigger, work harder, and expect more from yourself? Or do they normalize being broke, wasting time, and staying stuck? Because here's the reality: humans are contagious. The standards of the people closest to you will become your standards whether you admit it or not. If everyone around you thinks making $3,000 a month is good enough, you'll settle there. If everyone around you complains about the economy and blames the system, you'll absorb that mindset. But if everyone around you is stacking money, building businesses, and breaking barriers, you'll feel uncomfortable until you rise to their level. Your circle sets your thermostat for success. You might think you're independent, but no one is immune to environment. If you hang out with 5 broke friends, you'll be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 disciplined, ambitious, high earners, you'll start to mirror them. It's not magic, it's psychology. You start picking up their language, their habits, their expectations. You learn how they see money, how they approach opportunities, and how they solve problems. That alone is worth more than any book or course you could buy. Proximity changes perspective. The challenge is most people are scared to upgrade their circle because it means letting go of comfort. It means distancing yourself from the friends who want to party every weekend, the relatives who complain about everything, the coworkers who gossip instead of grow. It doesn't mean you stop caring about them. It just means you stop letting their mindset dictate your future. Because the truth is, every hour you spend with people who think small is an hour you're training yourself to stay small. And if you're trying to break out of survival mode, you can't afford that. Think about it. Why do certain neighborhoods produce more success than others? It's not the buildings, it's the people. In wealthy circles, the conversations are about opportunities, investments, and growth. In broke circles, the conversations are about bills, complaints, and distractions. Which room do you think will push you further? Which room will make you feel out of place if you don't step up? That's the room you need to be in. If you're always the smartest, most disciplined, and most ambitious person in your group, you're in the wrong group. So how do you upgrade your circle if you don't have access yet? You start by removing the wrong influences. Less time with people who drain you. Less time in environments that reinforce mediocrity. Then you add better inputs, podcasts, books, online mentors. Those voices become part of your circle. They may not know you, but their mindset rubs off on you. From there, you intentionally seek out higher level people. Go to events, join communities, volunteer for projects where the people involved are further ahead than you. Don't worry about fitting in, worry about learning. The fastest way to grow is to surround yourself with people who already live at the level you want. And here's the part most people don't realize. Successful people want to help those who are serious. They don't respect excuses, but they respect effort. If you show hunger, humility, and consistency, you'll find mentors, partners, and friends who pull you higher. But none of that happens if you stay stuck in the same old circle where everyone is okay with being average. So if you've got less than 10,000 saved, take a hard look at your environment. Ask yourself, are these people making me better or keeping me broke? Be ruthless about the answer because your future depends on it. Upgrade your circle and you'll upgrade your standards. Upgrade your standards and you'll upgrade your life. That's how you stop tolerating being broke and start building the wealth you actually deserve. Time is the most valuable currency you have, and if you've got less than $10,000 saved, you can't afford to waste it. The truth is, your calendar shows your priorities more clearly than your bank account ever will. Every hour you spend scrolling, binging shows, gaming, or hanging out without purpose is an hour stolen from the life you're trying to build. You may not see the cost right away, but time is compounding just like money. The hours you waste today don't just disappear, they stack up into months and years of lost momentum. And the brutal truth is, if you keep wasting time, you'll stay broke no matter how smart or talented you are. Here's the thing, money lost can be replaced, but time lost is gone forever. That's why people who value their future guard their hours like treasure. They treat their time as if it's worth thousands of dollars an hour, because eventually it will be. Broke people trade time for comfort. They'll sit around killing hours because they don't feel urgent about their future. Wealthy people trade comfort for time. They invest hours into things that compound skills, relationships, opportunities, because they know the payoff is exponential. If you've got less than 10 grand saved, your biggest mistake isn't just what you spend your money on, it's what you spend your time on. Every time you choose an activity, you're making a decision. Is this moving me closer to freedom or further from it? The problem is, most people default to distraction. They get off work, they're tired, and instead of using those few extra hours to sharpen themselves, they burn them on entertainment. And then they wonder why their life doesn't change. The truth is simple. If your evenings and weekends look the same as everyone else's, your bank account will too. You don't need 12 extra hours a day to change your life. You just need focused hours. 2 or 3 hours every night spent learning a high-value skill, working on a side hustle, or building a business is enough to completely change your trajectory within a year or two. But most people won't commit to that. They'll tell themselves they're too tired, too busy, too stressed. Yet those same people can find time for endless scrolling, video games, or gossip. It's not a time issue, it's a choice issue. Discipline with time also means eliminating the things that steal it without giving value back. That might mean saying no to people who drain you. It might mean deleting apps that suck you into endless loops. It might mean waking up earlier or structuring your day differently. Every hour you claw back from distraction is an hour you can invest into your freedom. And once you start seeing results, your skills growing, your income rising, your savings stacking, you'll realize how much of your old routine was just wasted potential. The funny thing is, once you start owning your time, life feels better, not worse. At first, discipline feels like sacrifice, but soon it feels like control. You stop being reactive to everything around you and start becoming intentional about everything you do. That control builds confidence, and that confidence fuels consistency. Before long, the hours you once wasted become the foundation of a completely different future. So if you've got less than 10,000 saved, take a hard look at your time. Track it, audit it, be brutally honest about where it's going. Because if your time is going to entertainment, comfort, and distractions, don't be surprised when your money disappears too. But if your time is going to learning, building, and leveling up, your money will follow. Guard your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. The richer you treat your hours, the richer your life will become. The final and most important shift you have to make if you've got less than $10,000 saved is raising your standard. Right now, the reason you're stuck is because you've tolerated being stuck. You've accepted things that you should have rejected a long time ago. You've normalized financial struggle as if it's just how life is supposed to be. And as long as you keep tolerating it, nothing will change. Your standard is the line you refuse to cross, the minimum level of life you're willing to accept. The moment you raise that line, everything in your life begins to shift. Think about it. If your standard is, I just want to pay my bills and get by, then that's exactly the life you'll design, barely enough. If your standard is, I'm okay with making $2,000 or $3,000 a month as long as I'm comfortable, then you'll never break free from survival mode. Standards are self-fulfilling. You will always live at the level you demand of yourself, not the level you hope for. That's why people who win in life are ruthless about their standards. They don't tolerate laziness, they don't tolerate excuses, they don't tolerate being average. And because of that, they end up living extraordinary lives. The mistake most people make is thinking they'll raise their standards once they have more money. They'll say, once I get a better job, then I'll start saving. Once I make more, then I'll take myself seriously. That's backwards. You don't wait for money to raise your standards. You raise your standards first, and then the money follows. If you make it unacceptable to be broke, you'll do whatever it takes to stop being broke. If you make it unacceptable to waste time, you'll start guarding your hours with discipline. If you make it unacceptable to live paycheck to paycheck, You'll find ways to increase your income and cut your lifestyle until you're free. Your standards create the pressure that forces you to grow. It's uncomfortable, and that's the point. Growth doesn't come from what's easy. It comes from deciding you're done with average. Maybe you've been telling yourself for years that, oh, one day you'll figure it out. But one day never comes. Change doesn't happen until you say, I'm done. I refuse to live like this anymore. That's the spark. That's the moment where your standards shift. And once they shift, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop making excuses. You stop lowering the bar. You start demanding more, not from the world, but from yourself. Raising your standard also means shifting your identity. You have to see yourself differently. If you keep thinking of yourself as someone who just gets by, you'll keep living that story. But if you start seeing yourself as someone who is disciplined, resourceful, and destined for more, you'll act accordingly. You'll start making decisions that line up with that new identity. You'll say no to things that no longer fit. You'll say yes to challenges you used to avoid. And over time, those choices build a new reality. So if you've got less than $10,000 saved, ask yourself, what have I been tolerating? Where have I been settling? What lies have I been telling myself to stay comfortable? Then draw a line in the sand. Decide that this is the lowest you'll ever be again. Decide that you will never tolerate being broke again. Decide that from this day forward, you're raising your standard and living up to it no matter how uncomfortable it feels. Because when you raise your standard, you raise your future. And the truth is, the moment you make it unacceptable to be broke, that's the moment you'll never be broke again. Money doesn't change who you are. It exposes what you've been doing all along. If you're under 10 grand, don't waste another day pretending you're okay. Make the decision today to earn more, spend less, and stop tolerating being broke. Because the day you decide that being average is unacceptable, that's the day you'll never be broke again.